Hi, I'm Cameron Post, and this is Marketing My Life. So I got the greatest pleasure to intern at Reliance Property Management. They're located on 1336 South Seneca Street. And so my mentor was Francis Baumann, and he's actually the founder and CEO, and he founded it down in 2008. And they manage over 1,000 properties down there, and they have teams. They have vigorous teams of like HOA services. They do home services such as HVAC and plumbing, and a lot of different things like that. So my mentor, a little about him. He's an amazing guy. He's probably the best guy I've ever met. He's super nice and chill, and he knows exactly what to say every time I come up to him. Every time I ask him questions or anything like that. What he actually does is usually he'll have me and Nathan Seck go out and try to do stuff on our own before he ever teaches us anything. So like we did wholesaling and things like that, and before he ever taught us how to do that, he would have us try and make cold calls, which I highly don't recommend because it's actually a little illegal, is what he told us. But so we would go do that, and we would kind of talk to random people and try to get their houses under contract. And before then, we didn't know how mean people were, and we had a lot of old people, yelling at us and saying, no, I don't want to sell my house or something like that, and thinking they'd get more money than what their house is actually worth. And he would always just tell us, calm down, go back to training, and just work it out. So a little about Francis. He actually went to Andale High School, and then he decided to go to Newman University, and he graduated with a bachelor's in science. And after that, he wanted to get his law degree, so he went to the University of Kansas, the best school. He went there, and then he decided to go back to Newman. I guess he loved Newman so much that he wanted to do part-time, he wanted to become a part-time professor there, so he did that for about 2 to 3 years. And then that's when he kind of founded Reliance, and ever since then, he kind of did part-time Reliance, like kind of tried building his business up while he decided to break off from being a professor, and he actually went to partner attorney. He did partner attorney at Folston. So that's where his law degree came in. And he was doing that for about 14 and a half years. He was like a team leader there, so he kind of ran that a lot. He's a very knowledgeable and smart man, so me and Nathan definitely picked his brain here and there and learned a lot. And then, so the things that we did, my experiences revolved around like 5 different things. We did Airbnb budgeting. So we'd go around. First day I showed up, Nathan already had been doing it for like a day or two. So I showed up, and Nathan and Francis were sitting there waiting for me. And I pulled in, and I came up there, and he sat down, and he talked to me a little about it, what we're going to be doing. And Nathan showed me how to do all the budgeting, so we hopped up on a spreadsheet, and he showed me that we had to kind of get all the numbers from surrounding Airbnb places and kind of go from like weekly budgets of what they range their prices for overnight, and then we'd have to kind of guesstimate what we should range ours for. And so me and Nathan kind of did that for him. We would actually price his real estate or Airbnbs for him. So we kind of took over and helped with that, which in turn we helped him a lot doing that, saved him a lot of time because he's a very busy man. And then other days we would actually do wholesaling, which is what I talked about. So he had us come meet with he's like a 19 or 20-year-old named DJ. I guess he's been doing wholesaling for about a year now, and he's made so much money that he actually bought a Jeep, and he lifted it like 6 inches. He spent over 60 grand on it. I don't know why, but he's smart. He knows what he's doing, and he is a great teacher. He actually helps Francis make money, so he'll go and find houses, and if he doesn't want to wholesale them or flip them himself, he'll go and contact Francis, and Francis will take over and get that house under contract. So yeah, we did that, and we had a lot of experience with rude people, which is okay. I mean, you live, you learn. But there's also some nice people out there. Nathan almost had a wholesaling contract down in Haven where he lives. I tried to get one down in Colwich, which didn't go very well. That's the house. They were lovely people, but I figured Colwich would be a good area because nowadays we actually don't have that many people in our community down in Colwich. So we used to have a big community and a lot of people that went to church, but now it's gotten smaller because most people want to rent out down in Colwich and they don't want to actually, provide or help in the community, which most of my family lives there, so we don't appreciate that very much, but that's okay. So I figured that would be a good idea, but they thought otherwise. And another thing that we did was my favorite thing that we did, we provided video and photo updates of each of the Airbnbs. So we would have to drive around, Wichita, wherever, 40 minutes away, an hour away, and we'd drive around to 5 to 6 different locations each. We'd split up, and I got lost almost every time. I had no idea where I was going. I even had the GPS, and it was hard to get there. I'm not very smart with that thing. But, so I would drive around, and I would show up, and I have a funny story. I actually, thought I was at the right house, and I was not at the right house. I pulled in, and
I need the following students to come to the office: Addison Ross, Harrison Aaron, Marshall Krause, Ivan Lease, Garrett McCaskill, Seth Richenberger, Maria Gonzalez, John Spexarth, Mackenzie Fairchild, and Rylan White, Devin Parthimer. Thank you.
So I actually pulled into the driveway and there were cars there, and I figured, maybe Francis has people working for him there, and I'll just show up, and he gives me the passcode, and I actually ended up, it was unlocked, so I opened the door, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. That was one of my most memorable days, but it was really funny and really embarrassing for me. So yeah, we did a lot of videos, and then after that we actually did a lot of meetings. So we assisted for meetings with him, and we would talk to like big business owners, such as just like Francis, people that were entrepreneurs in their own field, and then other people like counseling departments. I got a lot of contacts with those people and their business cards, and then so going back to the videos. You can see I'm in there, right there. This is actually one of my most memorable ones. So this is the one where I actually showed up and the door was unlocked, so I opened the door and went in. And I guess there were 3 Mexicans in there that were actually playing Mexican or Spanish music. And they started saying like, Arriba, Arriba. And I walked in and I was like, oh, this is homie. So I kind of joined in. And I didn't see them at the time. Like I walked in, and I heard the music. I was like, "Oh, nice. Maybe he's just playing music." And I turned the corner, and they're just sitting there at the table, and they're just singing. I'm like, "Am I supposed to be here?" And they turn around, they look at me like, "What the heck is this little kid doing here?" And then one of them's like, "Hey, what you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, my boss wants me to videotape for you, and I was just wondering if I could, do some photo updates." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine." And then his boss comes around the corner and goes, "What are you doing?" And I told him, and he's like, "Who's your boss?" I was like, "Oh, it's Francis." And he actually goes, this is what he says, he goes, "Oh, Francis!" He's like, "Yeah, I love that guy." And he kept telling me, he actually told me a story about how cool Francis is, and I thought that was really neat. And so,
Zach Horkins, please come to the office.
yeah, that happened, and I took videos of the whole place. That was probably the nicest place I've ever been into, because most of the other places were kind of beaten down and very bad looking, like that one right there. That's the back door. The door was like broken, and we couldn't even get inside because it was so bad. I videotaped the outside, and then we had Nathan Seck.
Drew Buckner and Maddox Blick, please come to the office.
And Nathan Seck videotaped he tried videotaping the inside. And then this is another one. This goes along with my other most memorable day. I had 2. So I pulled up to this one, and one of Francis's workers actually told me, "Hey, the door's unlocked. You don't need a key. Just go around the back. It should be open." So I walked to the back. I was like, "Okay, well that's convenient." Because opening the little key thing, you have to do a combination and then try to pull out a key, and it takes me too long. And so I stepped on those stairs, I opened the door, and I thought it was going to be, a little nice, and there's dog, and I hope not human, poop everywhere in the house. There was pee all over the floor, so I tried not stepping in that. And then I walked downstairs, and there was a big mattress, all different colored liquids. I don't even know what it was, but it was very disturbing. And I videotaped that, and usually when we videotape, we try to look for like cracks in the foundation and things like that, like busted pipes or anything like that, so they can, try to fix that as soon as possible, and then they like to refurnish it, so they'll get that whole zone inside just to see, which furniture is going to look nice for which area, and so on and so forth. And then for skills acquired, so this is actually for wholesaling. This is one of the guys that we had a meeting with. We like to do meetings at Starbucks. It's very convenient, and if you actually go to Starbucks, you'll see a lot of people like him with briefcases. They'll walk in there, and they usually do meetings from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And he was there, and he talked a lot about his podcast and how he, takes care of people, and he's a counselor, so he's very busy doing that. And then I would say for a few skills, communication skills is very important, and that goes along with, having to talk to a bunch of realtors, because he doesn't actually, Francis doesn't have his real estate license, which is kind of hard for him, as he does Airbnbs and stuff like that. But he has a bunch of realtors on his team that actually get him deals and discounts off for each house, which is very convenient for him. So I had to talk to a bunch of them and kind of understand what we were doing, and I had a lot of contacts with them. And then client services was another skill that I acquired. You have to speak to different clients, like when you're wholesaling. So random people, get your communication skills going too. You got to be able to, communicate with them without disturbing them. Because when someone gets a random call, like 8 a.m. in the morning, which is when I start, saying, "Hi, are you looking to sell your house?" You're not going to take that very well, are you? You're just trying to wake up and enjoy your morning with a cup of coffee. And so that was one of the skills that I learned. And then negotiating was probably the biggest one, which goes back to wholesaling as well. You have to negotiate prices within our budget, which is tough for them because they like to try to jump you up and get as much, from their house as they possibly can, which when you're looking at land and all that, it's very difficult for most of those guys. And then most memorable days, you have the broken into house, or I guess the people that I walked into. Very great guys, actually. I got their contact information and everything, so if I ever want to listen to music with them again, I can certainly do that. And then already occupied home, or I guess, occupied home was them. So yeah, those were my most memorable days, and I'll never forget those days. And then my post-secondary plans. So after I graduate high school, I plan on attending Hutch, and then getting my sales marketing degree. And I actually plan on doing real estate on the side, so as a side job. So right now I actually have a job. I do sales marketing right now as a job. I have my own business, and then I plan on doing Airbnbs and rental properties on the side. And Francis Baum is going to help with that. Me and Nathan Seck are going to go in together. So that's kind of my plan as of now. And I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Burkamp. She's the most lovely lady I've ever met in my entire life. She is spectacular. I've taken her class a few times, and she's blown it out the water. Knows everything that comes to being successful. And I want to thank Stanhope and Mrs. Shack. They are incredible people. They know how to run a school, and they know exactly what needs to get done in order to have us graduate and become successful people in the future. I also want to thank the Board of Education for allowing this class. because without this class, I wouldn't have got all the contacts and experience that I did. And I want to thank Francis Bauman, of course, for letting me do this. And I highly recommend him for anyone else that wants to go intern and is looking into real estate, because he is a great mentor. Thank you.